Good morning, YTPC. Southern Piper here. Take two. Take two with no dogs barking in the background. So, it's Saturday morning, January 29th. Yesterday, the YouTube pipe community celebrated the life of John Matches 860. It was a really nice time. I think it's a fantastic way to honor the man's legacy in our community, and it was a fun time. I think I tried to jump on about 4 different lives last night to support those lives and enjoy our good friend and mentor. And a lot of you knew him better than I did, because I was kind of late to the party with finding him. So anyway, this morning I am smoking Chelsea Morning by GLPs. This is one of my favorite blends. And I'm smoking in my new Cristiano pot. And, y'all know me. I can't remember numbers. This is in the signature line. And I don't see the number. It's somewhere. So I came across something interesting. I actually found this a while back. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic. I found this a while back, and I couldn't figure out what I want to do with it. And so yesterday morning, I got up and I decided I'm going to attempt to rehydrate. But I found actually, I think I found it last summer, and I've just been figuring out what to do with it and decided I would try to rehydrate it. But this was the very first tin of tobacco that I bought that was not an aromatic. And it's a tin of Dunhill early morning pipe. And if you pay close attention, I believe I bought this in 07 or 08, but I want you to notice what's not on the tin. You see it? You see what's not on the tin? Now, there was something on the side here. It may have been there, but there's no warning on here. And it's quite nice. But this will be a keepsake for me. The tobacco, I got the paper in there still. And you can see how the oil is absorbed into the paper. Can you see the rust on the rim? This tobacco was quite dry. So I'm attempting to rehydrate it right now. So we'll see how that works out. But I just wanted to show you all that. I thought it was neat. And hopefully I'll be able to restore it to a smoking quality, and we'll do a review on some, how old would that be, 14-year-old tobacco, give or take. So this is probably going to be a long video. And I will understand if you click through. First of all, for my viewers that live outside of the U.S., you may not care, and you may cut off and be done, and that's fine. Totally understand. And then those of you who live in the States may just skip forward and listen to what you want to hear and be done too. But I enjoy history. I am not a history expert. But I do enjoy reading about it and trying to learn new things. And I live in Alabama, and I grew up in a town that was named for a great Indian chief. And so I have trouble remembering how everything fit together, right? So in Alabama, we had 5 major Native American tribes. Predominantly, it was Creek. We also had Cherokee, Choctaw, I believe Chippewa, and I should have made notes because I can't remember. It'll probably come to me. But most of them spoke Muskegon, the language. And so my hometown is named for, and it's the Muskegon term for black warrior. So, and I believe, well, I don't believe, I know, based on what I learned, that it was a chieftain of the Creek Nation, and he was over an area that stretched from about where Meridian, Mississippi is, I believe, to about where Anniston, Alabama is. Because that was kind of the border between the Creek and the Cherokee. But it got me to thinking. If you saw one of my VRs, and I can't remember who it was to, it talked about a goal and what's keeping you from attaining that goal. One of my goals is to visit all 50 states, and I think I'm at 28 or 9, maybe 30. And then that, coupled with a game that I played the other night with lady friend, Princess Truvy, Duchess of Dega, naming all the states and where they are within the contiguous United States. You know, so we hit every state, all 50, talking about where they are. And I said to myself, and I think I even may have mentioned to her, most of, and I was anecdotally thinking, most of the states must be named for something related to Native Americans. So I found on, what is this? Government website. It's the Indian Affairs website. And it talked about, they have tried to trace the origins of all of the states, the names. Some of them are well-established facts that we know. Some are kind of up to debate. So we're going to talk about that. And I realize I'm talking very slow, and I apologize. I don't think I'm very engaging right now. So if you want to skip ahead, you can, because I'm going to keep talking slow probably. All right. So this is all 50 states, and it's information that they collected. This actually was done, it was published in I believe they said 74. So this is the most current data I could find. I didn't do a lot of research, I'll be honest. I Googled, what did I Google? I don't remember what I Googled to find this, but I found the one article, and that's all. So before I get into the states, I'm just going to read them off. Something interesting that I did not know is we had, for a brief time, when our country was extremely young, there was a state of Franklin. Not Franklin, Franklin. And it was named for Benjamin Franklin. In 1784, the state of Franklin was part of North Carolina's Western Territory, a part of the grant of Charles II. Okay. It broke away from the original territory and elected a legislature and a governor. For about 3 years, the two factions were nearly at war. Congress was petitioned by the newly formed state and asked for recognition, but this was not granted. Franklin was ceded to the federal government in 1790 and became the state of Tennessee in 1796 and was adopted to the Union. I did not know that, and I thought that was very interesting. So I doubt I'm going to be able to keep my pipe lit during this, but I'm going to do my best. So I hope I do this before my phone runs dead or runs out of memory. All right, so we're going to go in alphabetical order. Alabama, from an Indian tribe of the Creek Confederacy, originally called the Alabamas or the Alabamans, who in turn gave the name to a river from which the state was named. The state name was derived. So Alabama is a creek, which they spoke Mohegan, so it would be named after Creek Indians. Alaska, from the Eskimo word Alakshak. I'm going to butcher names, and I apologize. But it means peninsula. Also said to mean great lands. Arizona. Many authorities attribute the meaning of the word to a word meaning arid zone or desert. Others claim the name is Aztec from Arizuma, meaning silver bearing. Still, other versions attribute the origins, I'm going to have to put these on, to the Papagos tribe of the Southwest. Ruck name named it for the locality in which they called Arizonac, meaning site of small springs. So lack of water. This place is near the present town of Nogales, and in the early 1700s, silver was discovered near here, which gives some credence to the Aztec word Arizuma. All right, Arkansas. Originally, origin is uncertain. As usual with words of Indian origin, there are various spellings for the state name. Among them, Alcanzia, Alcanzas, and Alcamzia. The word, according to some, is of Algonquin origin, and the meaning is unknown. Others say Arkansas is a French version of Kansas, a Sioux state, a Sioux Indian name for South Wind people. So I don't know. As I was going through this, I kind of made a column for native name or European name or other. The fact that this obviously has a native component to it, whether it is the French naming it in reference to Kansas or whatever. It does seem to be native in origin. California generally agreed that Cortez first applied the name. The origin is traced to the name of an imaginary island in an old Spanish romance written by Montalvo in 1510. I'm sure I mispronounced that name, and I apologize. The island is described as an earthly paradise, abundant with gold and precious gems. Colorado, presumably named for the river bearing the name, although only tributaries flow through the state. Other theories are that it might have come from the Spanish word meaning rad or ruddy, describing the color of the stream in various places, or the red earth from which found in the area. Connecticut appears to be a derivation of the Indian word Conatakut, interpreted by some meaning river whose water is driven in waves by tides or winds. Other interpretations include Long River, the Long Without End River, and Long River Place. So Connecticut seems to be native in origin as well. Delaware was named for Lord Delaware, first governor and captain general of Virginia, who in 1630 explored the bay and river area where his name was first applied. So Delaware and California so far are really the ones with European origin, it looks like, so far. But we're about to get into more of those. Florida, in 1513, Ponce de Leon landed here on Easter Sunday, the Spanish Pascua de Flores, meaning Feast of Flowers, for which the state is named. So Florida is European. Georgia's name for King George II of England. The colony bore this name in the charter granted by the king to General James Oglethorpe, colonial administrator, in 1732. Hawaii is actually the English spelling of Oahe, possibly from the native word meaning homeland. Idaho, the origin is uncertain. Some claim it to be a sterile form of an Indian word of unknown meaning, while others claim the meaning to be gem of the mountains. which properly describes a state, especially because Indian translations quite often refer to natural features surrounding the country. Another claim is the Shoshone translation of Idaho, or light on the mountain. So Idaho appears to be native. Illinois is from the Illini Indian word meaning men or warriors, supplemented by the French adjective ending "oi." So that's kind of both, but I think we can credit the Illini nation for Illinois. Indiana, presumably named from the fact that the land lying around the Ohio River was purchased from Indians. Others claim it was named for the Indian tribe who settled in western Pennsylvania. Iowa, from an Indian tribe. And I really hate this because I butcher names, and I do not mean to. But it would be Ahi-Uba, meaning sleepy ones or drowsy ones. They lived in the valley of the state's principal river, which they named for their tribe, and in turn the name was applied to the state. Kansas, named for the Kansas or Kansa tribe of the Sioux family. They lived along the river in the area and gave it the tribal name. The name translates to South Wind People or Wind People. Kentucky, origin and meaning is controversial. Pioneer George Rogers Clark claimed that the name derived from an Indian word, Kentucky, meaning meadowland. The claim is also made that it stems from the Shawnee word meaning at the head of the river, inasmuch as they use Kentucky River in traveling throughout the area. It is also claimed to stem from the I should have written pronunciation guides on this for myself. I apologize. Wyandot word Kentuctan, meaning land of tomorrow. Louisiana, named in honor of Louis the 16th. No, it wasn't. Louis the 14th of France. First used in 1683 by the French explorer René Robert Cavelier de la Salle, and applied to the territory encompassing the drainage basin of the Mississippi and its tributaries. Maine. Two versions. One is that it's called by early explorers after the private estate of Henrietta Maria in Maine, a French province. The other attributes it to fishermen of the island along the coast who referred to it as the Main or mainland, often spelled mainland, Maynland, in some early documents, in a grant to Sir Fernando Jorges by Charles I in 1639. It is referred to as the province or country of Maine, Mayne. Maryland is named for Queen Henrietta Maria, wife of Charles I of England. Massachusetts, first state to have an Indian name, from the Algonquin word Massachusetts, meaning great hill, small place. Possibly the hills around Boston as seen from the bay. Michigan, from Algonquin word Mishigawa, meaning big lake or great water, derived its name from the lake of the same name. Also said to be from Michi, M-I-C-H-I, meaning great, and Gamma, meaning water. Minnesota is from the Sioux word meaning cloudy water or sky-tinted water, derived its name from the river of the same name. Mississippi, meaning great river or gathering in all of the waters, sometimes referred to as father of waters, indicated that the Indians were aware of the immensity of the river, first written by Tonti as Mississippi, Michisepe, 2 words, Mishi and then Sepi. Missouri is an Indian tribal name denoting muddy water and named for the large river. Montana, controversial from the standpoint of whether the name is Spanish or Latin, but quite descriptive. It means mountainous. And I was surprised at this, that Montana was not a native term. Nebraska comes from the Sioux word describing the river from which the state gets its name, meaning shallow water or broad water. Also said to be an Otos Indian word meaning flat river, referring to the Platte River. Nevada, from the Spanish word meaning snow-clad, snowy land, or snowy, descriptive of the snow-clad mountains in the area. New Hampshire, named in 1639 by John Mason for the English country of Hampshire. New Jersey, named for the Isle of Jersey off the coast of England by George. Oh man, these names. Carteret, I'm sure I mispronounced that and I apologize, who settled in this area after receiving a grant from the Duke of York. New Mexico, called New Mexico when the Mexicans referred to the territory north and west of the Rio Grande in the 16th century, may have been derived from the name of the Aztec war god Mexitli. I'm sure I'm killing that word too. Still, another interpretation is that it means habitation of the god of war. So New Mexico is also kind of native in that regard, since it's from the Aztecs. New York, originally called New Netherlands, but changed in 1664 when taken over by the English and named in honor of the Duke of York. North Carolina, in the early 1600s, the area was referred to in some English papers as Carolina, and was thought to be named for Charles I of England. Later, about 1663, the name Carolina was definitely applied by those who had received a grant to the land from Charles II, and so it was named in his honor. North Dakota, from the Indian name meaning allies, Indian form is Lakota, Nakota, Lakota again with an H, or Dakota, depending on the dialect. Allies was used to signify the common name of the Confederated Sioux tribes. Ohio is Iroquois Indian word meaning the river of the same name, beautiful river, taken from the river of the same name. Oklahoma is a Choctaw Indian word meaning red people. I'm just checking to make sure I'm still recording here. Oregon. One theory is that the name is derived from Oregonum, a species of wild sage which grows abundantly on the coast of Oregon. Another, that it stems from the Spanish Oregones, which refers to the Indian tribes inhabiting the region and meant big-eared men. That's interesting. Joaquin Miller, poet of the Sierras, gave another version that the name came from the Spanish Alura Agua, meaning gently falling waters. Almost done. Hang in there with me. Pennsylvania. This is the only state in the Union named for its founder, William Penn, who wanted to call it Sylvania because of the extensive forest areas. Rhode Island, originally called, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, but it's, oh yeah, I will. Why not? Rhode Island, by the Dutch navigator Adrian Block, for whom Block Island was named. Presumably, from the redness of the clay in the area along the shore, name was later anglicized to Rhode Island, also said to have been named from the island of Rhodes in the Mediterranean, but several historians gave little to no support for that. South Carolina, named for Charles II of England, the same as the sister state. South Dakota, Sioux name for meaning allies. Tennessee, is Cherokee in origin from a tribe located at a village site called Tennessee, also spelled Tennessee with fewer E's and only one S. The state is named for the principal river, which has been interpreted as meaning bend in the river. However, it has not been substantiated and the meaning is considered to be lost. Texas is named for Indian word Tejas, meaning friends or allies. Utah gets its name from the Ute Indian that inhabit the region, but the origin of the name is unknown. Vermont, named by Samuel de Champlain for the Green Mountains and the range, which is one of the outstanding features of the state. Virginia, named for Sir Walter Raleigh for Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen of England. Now, here is the only state that has a truly American name. That is Washington, named for George Washington. West Virginia was originally part of Virginia. And interestingly enough, this says that they originally talked about wanting to rename that state when they broke away from Virginia to Kanawha, which is an Indian name, a name for one of the principal rivers, but it was not adopted. Two more guys hang in there. Wisconsin, from the Indian name whose meaning is uncertain, named after its principal river and said to mean wild rushing channel. Also refers to holes in the banks of the stream in which birds nest. And then finally, Wyoming, name was more than one meaning as interpreted by different authorities. One meaning is extensive plains. Another interpretation suggests that the name means mountains with valleys alternating. So based on my calculation, over half of the states have native origins, roughly 30 or 31. The rest, I shouldn't say the rest save one are European in origin, with Washington being the one that is truly American only. So I hope you enjoyed this. It was long. I'll be interested to see how many people actually make it all the way through. But I appreciate you spending some time with me this morning. I certainly appreciate my subscribers, and I want to thank Jason N.W. Piper for giving me a very very nice shout out on his community page. So until next time, my friends, which actually will probably be tonight, because I do want to do a couple of first impressions. But until next time, I bid you happy smoking and blessings to you and your family.